Hello everyone, welcome to Lilian and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Love. Love is from Stockholm in Sweden. So let's see what Love has to say. Enjoy the interview. So hello Love, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you.
Of course.
So tell me, how was your day today?
A lot of work, as per usual. So
Uh-huh.
work in marketing. So there's always something to do.
So tell me a little bit about your job.
I work as a marketing manager, social media manager, and content creator for several areas, really. For example, my full-time job is for solar panels, solar cells, and uh, roofing works and real estate and schools and stuff like that. So that's my full-time job. And then I have side gigs for tattoo studios and psychologists and you name it. So
Amazing. And where are you from, Love?
I'm from Sweden.
Where's about?
Alongside the Norwegian border, Värmland.
Wow. So how far are you from Stockholm, from the capital?
If you were to drive from Stockholm, it would be a 3-hour straight drive to Norway.
Amazing. Oh, wow. So tell me something interesting about your city where you live.
Where I live. So it is the capital, obviously. Fairly big thing. We have great history, one of the older cities ever. Nearest here, one of Sweden's oldest churches, built in 1600s. That's fairly fascinating. We have a thing called the Old Town, where there's been several unfortunate happenings in history and stuff like that. So yeah, old city. Most people know about Gustav Vasa. So yeah.
I see. Oh, so right now you are living in the capital in Stockholm right now.
Indeed.
I see. And all your family are back in your hometown where you're born?
Yes. So actually the most fascinating thing about that city is that I'm guessing you know about Alfred Nobel.
It rings a bell.
You know the Nobel Prize?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
So the man behind that prize, the inventor of practically nitroglycerin and the timer of dynamite and everything like that, came from my hometown.
Oh my God, you just made my day. I didn't know that.
Yes,
wow. I know about the Nobel Prize, of course.
Yes,
but
most people do that at least.
That's amazing. Oh, wow. I'm sure everyone from the city are very proud of it, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, Love. So during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey so far, okay?
Yes.
But before we start our journey within the Magic Box, would you like you to tell me something interesting about yourself or maybe something that not many people know about you?
I mean, most people know a lot about me. I'm a very public and open kind of person, so it's quite difficult to not find something that they don't know about me already. So, yeah.
And something interesting you could share, something that people found interesting about you?
I have several things. Like, I'm a musician. I don't work with it today, but like, give me an instrument and I can play it. It's called being a virtuoso. So as long as you have notes, I can play it.
Wow.
On the other side of the spectrum, my absolute deepest interest is witchcraft. So that side of the occult and mysticism side of the world, I have 2 bachelors in the subject. So yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my God. It's interesting saying that, Love, because what I like the most about the Magic Box is about how much I've been learning through the interviews.
I can imagine.
Interview people around the world. And the interesting thing is, I remember I never heard before witchcraft before I started doing the show. And I had a lovely man a few years, I think 2 years ago. He's from California, if I'm not wrong, or somewhere in the US, and he's into witchcraft, and he told me, he kind of educated me about it because I never heard before. So that's what I like the most about the show, because talking to people, there's always a topic that's maybe I didn't know, or maybe other people who's watching didn't know either. And I think that's very interesting. Amazing. Thanks for sharing. Great. Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
I'm never ready, but I'll be there anyway.
You're already here anyway.
Yes.
Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend. From the phone questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just first to relax before the first question, okay?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Yeah.
Amazing. First question is, what do you miss the most from your childhood and why?
The forest, to be honest. Grew up in the deep, dense forest of Sweden, and I now live in the capital, so it's usually the smell of trees, So that, absolutely.
And tell me, when you think about your childhood memories, tell me a memory that always comes to your mind when you think about it.
The time when I had to save a cat from the very peak of a tree.
Tell me about it.
Here in Sweden, we get very tall trees and everything like that. And me living in the forest naturally comes close to me, trees. And one day the cat got scared by birds and stuff like that. And the birds started attacking the cat and everything like that. And this was my sister's cat back then. And I was the only climber in the family. So, I had to climb up several stories. It was really scary stuff. And then only having one hand and one cat, it was messy.
Wow. And you have a big family?
I have a very big family, indeed. Most of them are back from my hometown. I'm the youngest of 14 siblings. Yes.
Wow.
And everyone, besides me and my adoptive sister, has at least 2 children.
That's amazing. That's a big family for sure.
Indeed.
Wow, amazing. And how did you feel growing up in a big family where you were the youngest one?
Yeah, it's actually quite unique because I practically grew up as a lonely child because I'm also the youngest of them all. Like my oldest sister is 30. No, not 30. Jeez, there's 15 years. I'm 30. Sorry, messy brain sometimes. But like there's been such big gaps between us kind of thing. So I have practically lived as a lonely child. And then I had my step siblings and everything like that on the side of that, obviously. But it's been lonely childhood kind of thing. So,
wow. And did you ever, like, as an adult, did you ever kind of got all together your siblings plus their children as well?
No. That's practically impossible. Like trying to have a full-on meeting with the whole family, I think it would be absolute chaos if that were to ever happen.
And which person in your family you feel more close to right now, right this moment? Which person would it be?
My absolute best friend is kind of like a chosen family member for me.
Absolutely.
So it would be him. Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so your best friend is watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send them a message. What would you say? You can say in Swedish first, and after you can say in English. What do you think?
I mean, it's absolutely fine to do it in just English if you don't mind.
Absolutely, yeah, please.
Please. So with that said, if you are watching, I would absolutely thank you for every given second that you were giving me. It's been the most heartwarming and also the most understanding moments of my life. And when I'm in pain, you will always laugh, and that makes me happy.
Beautiful, beautiful. And how did you pass cross, if you can share?
What did you say?
How did you pass cross for the first time, if you can share, you and your best friend?
We met through one of my neighbors in technicality. So here in Sweden, we have confirmation in church, usually. You go and you're 15 years old, you go on camps with the church and stuff like that. Yeah. And I joined my neighbor on one of these nights thing. Like I didn't plan on doing a confirmation or anything like that. And one night I slept over and everything like that. And then my best friend was there, now best friend. He didn't know it then. So we were about to, blow out the candles and everything like that in the church. And me being the absolutely super smart 15-year-old that I absolutely was, I, with my whole life force, did, and the wax was blowing everywhere, including my eyes, and that burned like, ooh. Oh, and you know what he did? he turned and laughed and he fell to the ground. He thought it was so funny, and there I was screaming, and we just knew we were meant for each other. So yes, that's kind of how we
That,
crossed our paths.
that's why your eyes are so beautiful, blue eyes. That's why.
Yeah, due to the wax, absolutely.
Amazing. Next question. Okay, next question for you is, what is something you always wanted to do but you're scared of?
I think it is parasailing. Or something to do with, free falling and stuff like that. I am way too afraid. Like, you don't know, the parachute will pop out or anything like that. But it would be the most amazing feeling, I think, for me. But as I said, I'm also afraid of heights, so ooh.
You
So
know
I
what?
want that. Yeah.
Because today I was watching a video on Facebook that's they were doing like parachutes. People they were jumping from the plane. This guy, he threw first his parachute.
Oh.
I know. And after like a few minutes after, he just jumped after it.
And go straight down.
Literally. I was like, my face was like this. And he, there are some people filming as well. And someone, it was organized, of course. And one point, the guy who was filming kind of grabbed him and they got together. And I was like, my God, can you imagine? I could never do something like that.
No, absolutely not.
Like, my goodness.
Yeah.
Saying that, when you think about yourself, when you analyze yourself, what's the biggest joy of being loved? What do you like the most about being?
Having the freedom of knowing that I can be cringy and awkward and allow myself to do that. Like, I have done so much in my life that I know I've probably done worse, So just knowing that can allow me getting a bit of an ego, give me that hubris step that I really need to take the next step, and that's how I get to be where I am and who I am, which I would not be anything without those. So yeah.
Wow, great! I love that. I think when you get to the point when you accept yourself, you know yourself, you know you're in the great place. It's like success for me. You feel like great. Yes. I think that's amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, before the next, yes, you can dance with me. Before the next question, tell me how witchcraft came into your life.
I grew up in a very pagan household, actually, in the woods. My mom were always very open-minded about, tarot cards, pendulas, the energy rods, and everything like that. And like, we could sense spirits, we could sense energies, and everything like that. At most, like mediums and people can do within witchcraft and stuff. Eventually I started looking into the Egyptian mythology, the Kemeticism, and it went a little bit downhill from there. I started looking into more gods and practices and hieroglyphs and stuff like that, which, I mean, my whole tattooed arm here is practically everything that I learned. Eventually I started looking into my own culture, the Aesir belief and the Norse paganisms. And eventually I started looking at the anime Full Metal Alchemist, and that's when like the last nail in that coffin just settled down, and they said, oh, well, here I am. So, yeah.
So people who watch this interview, maybe they never heard about witchcraft before, maybe they don't know what it's about. If you could like just briefly explain a bit for people who never kind of, knew about it.
Yeah, I actually get this question a lot during my TikTok lives. So, witchcraft, for some, depending on who you ask, can be religious. For some, it can be a political movement or a feeling or an action. And for us, who's not neither of the political and the religious part of witchcraft, it's a craft. It's mainly a craft, like, an art piece. You do your rock work, you do your canvases, you do your woodwork and stuff like that. It's just a craft. Of course, you can be religious and political as well, but it's a beautiful little craft. For some witches, you can just make foods and then you're a kitchen witch. Like, it's as simple as that. If you put your intentions into something, that's kind of a witchcraft thing. So yeah.
I see. Okay. Next question is, who is your biggest idol and what have you learned with this person?
My wife. She's absolutely beautiful goddess at every waking moment of my life. I wouldn't be the same without her. I have learned so much, both about humanity, feelings, and myself because of
Wow.
her. So yeah, just having half the knowledge that she has about people, I would, I think I'd explode with all that knowledge. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. Wow. And so far, what has been the most meaningful lesson you've learned from her?
That it's important to be able to say no, be able to be yourself, and you should allow yourself to feel.
Wow.
As a man, like it's usually very stigmatized to have feelings. Like it's awkward. Are you crying? Are you hurt? Are you crying to movies and stuff like that? Like it's a very stigmatized thing,
Totally.
and not enough men are talking about that. But my wife was so understanding, and now I cry to literally everything.
That's
So yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. What's the biggest difference between both of you and the biggest similarity?
Oh, we're practically the same person. So I'll start there. We're practically the same person.
Yeah.
But the difference is she is so freakishly understanding. I wish I was as understanding, obviously. I try my absolute best. But she gets the idea and emotion of emotions in a whole other spectrum than I does.
Wow.
I wish I could just understand and sit there and say, I understand, you know. It's that's like the biggest difference, absolutely.
Wow. And she comes from the same place where you're born, or she's from
She's here from the capital, but
uh,
also Norwegian. So yeah.
oh, interesting.
Yes.
Actually, I had an interview with a lovely man from Stockholm a few years ago, and actually we met. He came to London a few times, and he
Lovely.
lives in Norway now.
Nice. Good
I
on
think
him.
I think it's quite easy for people to, from
Oh
Swedish
yeah.
people living in Norway or the vice versa as well.
Yes.
I
Yes,
see.
absolutely. Yeah. Like for example, we go to Norway like 50 times a year, you know, it's
I
quite
see.
simple. 4 hour drive and we're there practically. So yeah.
Amazing. Cool. Next question. Let's do it. All right, love from Sweden.
Yes.
Okay, next question for you is, what's the nicest thing someone has ever done for you?
My best friend. Like it may seem like the most simplest thing, but during the harshest time, he has been like the person from my side of like if we were to talk about my wife's side and my side, she's what he has been the only person that ever asked, "How are you feeling?"
Wow.
Like that may seem like such a simple thing, but like when you're in a really rough spot, it hits
Totally.
hard. So yeah.
What's the meaning of life for you, love?
Um, being able to experience it.
Okay, good point.
So everything happens, and for some it happens for a reason, for some it happens to them, but to be a part of it is a different thing, you know. To experience life is truly a meaning of its own because we're not here for so long. Humans have a fairly short lifespan after all. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Tell me a life lesson that you've learned that you feel very grateful for.
This is actually thanks to my hubris alone, and that's you should always ask. Worst case scenario, you get a no. So what? That's a no. Move on. You can work around it, through it, over it, or back off. Dare
Totally.
to ask. Always ask.
Amazing.
Your
If you don't ask,
only stop is this.
totally. If you don't ask, you don't know the answer. You don't know how we're gonna.
Exactly.
It's yeah.
Yes.
I understand. It needs to come from you first. Just ask.
Yeah.
3 questions left. Let's do it.
Yes.
Okay, before the next question, tell me, when I was reading your profile, I could see that you are writing a book right now. Yeah?
Indeed. Yes.
So tell me about it.
It's a book about all things magical, and while that may sound like a children's book, I absolutely get that. It's a book about all things witchcraft and practices like that, religion and stuff like that. So yeah,
I see.
but yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry. And you've been writing for a while, or you kind of something new for you, or you just work on it right now?
So the book really started. My manager told me her grandpa was having this book in his shelf that was just covered with his name, but when you actually open up, you can see that it was a book about absolutely something else, and that
Right.
just gave me the idea, like, I can actually do a book. I sit on the knowledge kind of thing, and then I thought, like, okay, but on what? The one thing that I know that I can go on and on and on and on about is witchcraft. So a brief startup for like me when I was 12, you know? I wish I knew these things. I wish I knew the name of Egyptian mythology. I wish I knew the name of Greek mythology. Like Hellenism and Chemeticism is the names. I didn't know that. So,
Interesting.
yeah, barely done, and I'm already 780 pages deep. So, yeah.
Wow.
Brief start though.
Wow.
And that's witchcraft is a big topic.
I see.
Massive.
Okay. Next question is, do you have a unique ability that you think no one has or you never met before?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, no. Like I know people, like the one thing that I find unique with me is my love for information. And this goes for anything and not just witchcraft and anything like that. It's just the more I get, the more satisfaction I get, you know? The more I learn, the better I am as a human being. The more languages I get, the better I feel. Um,
Wow.
but I do know there's more people like that. We may be rare and stuff like that, but I feel like that's the only unique talent that I have. It's information and the sponging of information, practically. So, yeah.
And you always been this way?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Truly a nerd.
Beautiful. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Right. Before the next one, of course, we got connected through TikTok, through social media.
Indeed.
My question for you is, what's the idea behind your page? When you go live or when you post your videos, what's something that you'd like to spread around? What's something about your page that you'd like people to connect with you?
So my page is mainly about witchcraft and stuff like that, but that's not really the goal of it. This thing is like a little side project, just like the book is. I just wish I had this as a 12-year-old. I wish I had this knowledge. So that's kind of why I made the page as well. And that's why I go live on TikTok as well.
Right.
I'm there to answer questions. And a lot of people have a lot of questions. If you go on Reddit, for example, the same questions gets on there, but it's billions of people and they all answer differently and sometimes very bitterly as well. And some people are not open-minded about witchcraft. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm doing it, just to collect people and information and answers, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you have like a schedule to go live on TikTok, or it depends your live schedule?
Yeah, so I do have a schedule. It's 7 to 9 every Monday to Friday, Swedish time.
Okay.
So Central European time plus 1. But besides that, I may go live outside or shorter or stuff like that. But I try to stick to this schedule because I have gathered quite a bit of a following with people that would like to join my lives and be a part of it. So, for example, the first week that I did my lives, I got a girl that was so smart that she made a whole Discord server and she has full control of that.
Wow.
She's my moderator on TikTok lives now as well. And eventually we just grew, and now we're just about 100 people in the Discord alone. And
Amazing.
I gain just about 60 followers every single live because people are interested in what we do. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Next question is, which season of the year you feel more connected with and why?
February. I know it's not really a season in that sense, but I'm a very warm person. Everything or above 5 degrees Celsius, like around 41 degrees Fahrenheit, it's too warm for me. So in February, it could get to -10 to -30 degrees Celsius. It's really cold, but that's when I put on a thicker jacket and go on long walks. Like I feel at my peak self, kind of. I feel like I finally can breathe. Heat on warm people like me can feel so isolating for for example, like people that is in an elevator and have claustrophobia, you know, it feels so tight,
Right.
like you can't escape that kind of thing. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And what's the biggest joy of living in Stockholm? What do you like the most about the city? And the flip side, what do you find most challenging?
The most challenging is the people, while the most loving thing is the people. I know exactly how that sounds. So the most loving thing about Stockholm is the anonymity in a crowd. Like no one knows who I am. I can do whatever I'd like, and I feel like I could succeed in what I'd like to put my head to, you know?
Right.
Just put my first and best foot forward, and I know I can do what I'd like to achieve. As well as the people here in this city, in comparison to my hometown, it's very calm. You know, there's like 30 people there. But here, people are stressed. They run to the train station, they run to the bus. And here, like when growing up, for example, I find this so annoying. But where I grew up, when I had to go to the bus, if I missed that bus, I would have to wait for 2 more hours until the next bus. Like that was a long wait. Like, you know, you skipped the whole school day if you missed the first bus. And
Wow.
here people run to the bus when the next one is coming in 5 minutes. Like people are really stressed, and you can really sense that in people's energies when walking around. Like they need to get from point A to point B in the quickest means possible. And here I am an hour early because that's just how I have planned my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah. So
London
positives
is
and negatives, you know.
it's funny you saying that, because London is the same thing as well. Including
Yes.
myself, I can get the same base as well. And it's interesting because they're the tube here, yeah. Some of the lines, they are very frequent, like in 2 minutes, 3 minutes, there's another train. And sometimes if you go there, it's like 5 minutes, you go like, oh my God, it's already late.
Yeah.
So it's just 2 minutes more extra. You know what I mean? If you already
Absolutely, yeah. Been to the undergrounds a few times, and just going to one line, like it's absolutely crammed with people, and like the next one will come. Like don't worry, you can walk there. You'll get in time. If you're not in time, you should have, you know, gone away from home earlier.
Totally.
So yeah.
Ready? Last one?
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's go. Okay, but before the last question, tell me what witchcraft has taught you so far.
Openness, really, because there are so many practices of both culture, religion, and beliefs. All beliefs have their own set of rules and their own set of stories and myths and legends and stuff like that. Every single culture has their own teachings, kind of thing. Like, you know, how your parents try to teach you stuff, and like, yeah, you shouldn't be bad to people and stuff like that. Obviously that's a part of the culture as well, but the stories tend to be so well detailed and so beautiful, and like you learn so much from all of it. And while you learn so much through them, you kind of learn a lot of yourself, like what you think is, oh right, this feels like the right thing, like I shouldn't be mean. It's not because it says that in a book, because it's just a part of, like, yeah, I get it now. It's another human being that is standing in front of me, and like the spirit behind it, not just someone that will end up in heaven, like, you know. So yeah.
Last question is, what makes you a unique person?
Hubers. No. God, a unique person. I'd like to think of the chances of, for example, you and me existing at the same point in time. Really, the chances of that are so slim. Of you and me just even meeting up and seeing each other like this, face to face. It's like that's practically a 0% chance, but here we are, and that's what makes me unique, and that's what makes you unique as well. It's a beautiful thing of chance.
I love that. Beautiful, like that. Okay, so then let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words, just one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with money.
Money. Anxiety.
Okay. Fear.
Sharks.
Family.
Anxiety again.
Life.
Respect.
Love.
Me.
Of course. Religion.
Practice.
Sex.
Love.
Politics.
Messy.
Friendship.
Lovely.
Desire.
My wife.
Oh, sweet. Regret.
Family.
Success.
Hopeful.
Wish.
Hopeful.
Happiness.
My wife.
One word for Stockholm.
Stress.
One word for Sweden.
Open.
Wow. Witchcraft, one word.
Beauty.
Wow. And the last one now, if you could define your TikTok page in one word, what that would be?
Open.
Beautiful. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your wife for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, define love in one positive and one negative word only. What she would say?
Positive. Open.
Okay.
As well for that one. Negative. Hubris. Hubris has led me far and long, but I know it can get on her nerves sometimes.
And if I would ask the same question to your friends, your best friend that you mentioned, would be the same answer?
Not necessarily about the hubris part. When it comes to my friend, I think both sides, they would literally say individual.
Interesting.
Yes.
Let's play now Love in the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before asking the question, what's your favorite Swedish word? Oh. Which
it's
means?
the O with 2 dots over it. It's
so
one of the shortest words, like O as well. O is for river, and is for island.
Oh my God! So let me see. O, river, O.
It's a really difficult sound, and that's why I find it so unique and funny, because very few people from different language trees can pronounce so yeah.
Interesting. Okay, you can ask me a question now, Love.
Yes, I actually thought about it as soon as you asked me, like, make it interesting. I thought, and I usually tend to think about this for myself, namely, if you were to send one memory to your child self, what would it be? Not a word, not advice, not a feeling, one memory. What would you send yourself back as a child?
What a great question, my goodness. Wow. Over 1,000 interviews on the show, nobody asked me this question. Wow. That's very creative, very creative. You put me in
It also kind of shows the pride in yourself, like what memory has led you to really be happy of yourself, and like showing your child self that we can actually make it, you know?
Wow. Great question. I love the question. Put me right on the spot. A great memory. Wow.
I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't need to be a great memory. It doesn't need to be a positive memory. Just a memory.
I think a memory, absolutely. You know what? I'm going through my memories in life right now, and the first, like, genuinely, what comes to my mind, straight away, it's I have this memory with my grandmother. I think I was 6, 7 years old, and I remember both of us we were sitting down together. And she was very spiritual as well. I remember my grandmother, she passed away. She's not from Brazil, she's from Paraguay, yeah? And she moved to Brazil when she was very young. Anyway, and she was very spiritual. I remember she could read your hand as well. She kind of tell you. And once she was kind of, touched my hand, and she was kind of looking around. And she said to me, I never forget this moment. She said to me, she used to call my son, like my son instead of my name. She was my son. You know what? You're going to have... moments in your life, that you're gonna feel a bit lost, you're gonna feel like you don't have answers, things gonna go in a direction. But she said, you know what? It's part of it. You know, you're gonna carry on. You're gonna go, you're gonna go through that, and that's those moments you cannot avoid it. It's gonna be always there, but you just need to keep going because it's. And she was showing my hand. So like, you see this line here, you're gonna feel a bit lost. Yeah, she was like, you're gonna feel a bit lost. However, you're gonna find a way. You're gonna find a way. It's just a moment, period of your life. And I have this memory that for me, it brought me happiness, comfort, doubt as well, because I was a bit lost about that. So that was a memory that I would share with my younger self now, because it stays there. It stays there. And for some reason, when you asked me that, it brought me straight away there. So yeah, I share this moment because she was very special for me. I could tell so many memories with her. She never had studies in her life. She never had the opportunity to study, but she was always I remember she's been very spiritual and very positive. And, she told me things about life that as a young boy, I was a bit strange. I couldn't understand much, but when I look back, she was so right about things that I couldn't understand. So yeah, great question. You put me right there in the memory for sure.
You're welcome. It's also nice to relive your life for a short bit for like questions like this as well.
Yeah.
Like to know where we are all of a sudden. Here we are.
You put me right there sitting with her by her side, and she touched my hand and tell me about those lines here that I never forget, for sure.
Yeah. It's a vivid question.
Did you enjoy the interview, Love?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It's been fun.
Thanks again. Thanks for being so kind. We got connect not long ago. You said, yes, let's do it. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it.
And as you said something very important. Actually, I never heard that before. You said about being unique. We are having a moment that's meant to have. As you said, couldn't happen, in a billion times. And it just
practically a 0% chance. But here we are.
I love that. Literally, I never heard that, and I got the information now with me, and I remember that. Thanks again. Thanks for being so kind and sending me an invitation.
Thank you for sending me an invitation.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Dare to take the step. Always dare to ask the question. And the most difficult part is believe in yourself and try to be yourself. Those two can be very difficult for a lot of people. You yourself can be a new version for every single person that you ever meet. Just like we are a different person, for example, than I am to my wife. She has a different image. But as long as you are true to yourself, kind of thing, keep the promises that you promise yourself. At that point, you become yourself. And I find that to be very important. So dare.
Amazing. Great. Thanks again. Regards to your best friend, to your wife and friends, and keep in touch. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. Okay?
Same.
Take care.
Have a lovely day.
You too. Take care. Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye. See you next time.